Well, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you might be tuning in. Great to have you here. I wanted to share some thoughts for you around your thoughts. Crazy that if you're dialing in, I want to talk about three particular things about how to get the opportunities that you want. If it's your career, if it's the relationships, if it's income that you're trying to make, there are some critical components about all of that. And it's how you see yourself. Now, there's not a magic wand that you can wave. There's no pill you can take. There's no immediate turnaround that's going to transform all of this stuff for you. There's a different component to this, and it's about how you believe about you. And I wanted to share with you some of the things that I'm observing about people. In this season that we're in, there's so much uncertainty and people are in places of crisis, and there's a lot of emotion. And what happens when there's a lot of emotion is critical thinking cannot exist at the same time of heightened emotion. Those things become competing, and the emotion always wins because emotion has feelings, and those feelings are super, super powerful. And so what you can do is you can leverage that into something that works on your behalf, something that will serve you rather than detract from you. So I want to dive into some of those with you today. So first thing I want to talk to you about is this: your core identity. Who you see yourself to be is everything. Let me show you an example. If you have internally thoughts of shame or defeat or failure or something that is of a negative quotient, there's some chaos going on internally. Oftentimes what will happen is you'll walk into a situation, and as such you will experience imposter syndrome. You'll experience where you say some words out of your mouth that you didn't mean to say, and you'll self-sabotage a relationship or an opportunity. You'll be in an interview and you'll say something, you'll walk out of the meeting, it's like, where did that come from? These are elements where your inside is now coming out into the outside, and there's a reason for this. And we'll get into this a little bit more later, but your brain always seeks equilibrium from how it sees yourself to be. So whatever you're experiencing inside, your brain wants to experience outside. This is this symmetry that your body and your psychology is always seeking. And so as such, there's an element where you have to understand that your identity is a product of your belief system. How you believe about you is everything. It is a product of how you are raised, whether it be the environment or the experience. It could be the people who spoke into your life. It could have some quotients that are positive, some that are negative. Whatever people have surrounded you with in a messaging, you yourself have chosen to pull pieces of that information and accept them as truths for you. As such, you've created storylines in your head about who you are. Some of those stories serve you, and some of those do not. But either way, your brain is trying to create a symmetry or an equilibrium with those stories in context of the life you're living. In other words, it wants to validate the story you've told yourself. And this gets really deeply psychological. And so in that, the beliefs you have about you are things that can be changed. And so if you're in a place where you are not educating yourself about yourself in a way that's healthy and whole, you're always going to be chipping away at any kind of forward progress. So let me explain what that looks like. Where you're at right now, you have an identity about what's possible. The kind of job that you have, you create an identity around your title or your industry or your experience. There's something about that you can say, this is what I'm good at. This is what I know, and therefore this becomes comfortable. One of the things about your comfort zone is your comfort zone can oftentimes become your coffin because you get stuck there. That's where your forward progress goes to die. You are built for growth. And if you're not growing, then that stagnation is what is frustrating you. And so if your belief system stops at what your experience is in your career, and this also relates to your relationships. If you come from a certain background of how you've experienced relationships, oftentimes you'll create a story around that. It's one of those where I like to say sometimes that you ever feel like you are dating the same person over and over again just with a different face? It's because you are attracting or seeking some validation for ways you are believing about yourself. And those people that you are bringing around yourself are in this place of that quotient. They're validating that negative way you see about yourself, and they're treating you, speaking to you, doing to you the things that you in your mind believe about you. And this is that weird stuff about your brain seeking equilibrium. So now we got your career and your relationships, and then your income. What's your relationship with money? If you came from a family that had different mindsets around money, oftentimes you have absorbed those as your own. And so the way that maybe your dad or your mom saw money is now the way that you can oftentimes see money. Or you've experienced some crises in your life, and now you have a place of lack, a place of fear, a place of uncertainty around money that you believe something about. Or you come from a faith background where it might have been super legalistic or religious, and now you believe that money is evil. Or some story in your head says that anybody is rich has behavior that is unpleasant or unacceptable. And so as such, you think, I never want to have money because I never want to be like that. These are stories that you've planted in your head that are keeping you from being able to accelerate growth in your business, being able to price yourself appropriately. You're pricing according to your time and not your knowledge. And you're in this place where everything that's revolving around you is a product of your beliefs. So I've just kind of covered this whole thing about relationships in your career and your money mindsets. These are all products of your belief system. So if your core identity is based in your belief system, then the way to change that is to change what you believe. Your belief creates behavior. So to change that belief, I'm going to give you some steps. What you hear about, whether it actually be audibly or what you're reading, what you're watching, what you hear about, you will think about. And what you think about, you will ultimately talk about. And what you talk about, you will bring about. So here's some instances to watch how you speak about yourself. When something goes away that's unpleasant, you go, oh, of course it did. Oh my God, it always happens to me. That's an indicator. That's a story. That's a story you have told yourself that it always happens like this. When you find yourself waiting for the shoe to drop, right, about a situation, there's a story in there that you've told yourself. If you're in a place where the words come out of your mouth that say, I could never do this, I can't, I won't, I will never, there's a story. These are the things that you have to battle to correct. And so therefore, listening to the kinds of teaching, training, motivation, inspiration, these are the things that are part of this element I call mental fitness. In the same way that you can exercise to build muscle, you can eat right to gain energy and to be fit, your mind needs mental fitness. And so these become these mental vitamins that you take. It's listening to, the Jim Rohns of the world, the Tony Robbins, and you don't have to go all the way. You can be Brene Brown. It could be Oprah. It could be. There's so many people that are out there who can speak life into your situation. There are books that you can read that can help you get a glimmer of hope and vision and clarity for your life, that you can get that stuff into your head and start to see that internally, start to marinate in that, and then see yourself in that new place, feeling the emotions of fulfillment, satisfaction, confidence, joy, in that place that you can see a new identity internally. And what happens is once you transform that identity internally, the brain seeks equilibrium. And now all of a sudden you've elevated the way you show up. the way you carry yourself, the way you have a conversation, the way that you attract opportunities, the way that you articulate the confidence of who you are and what you have to offer, the way you will charge for your products or services is because you've instilled in you a newfound knowledge of who you are and what you deserve, what you are worth, what you are capable. This is the transition of your mindset. It is changing your core identity with the information you're taking in. So those three things again: your core identity, your beliefs about you, and the brain seeking equilibrium. If you will understand these three core components, you can transform the experience you have in your relationships, in your career, and your income. Because the only common denominator in all of those is you. So even in a downturn of the economy, if you believe that your identity is wrapped up in a job and you're dependent upon somebody else to choose you to then make money, then you're stuck unemployed. Versus, I have a gift, a talent, or a skill that people will pay for and they will value my knowledge. Now I can transcend that to become a consultant, a coach. I can build my own business, build my own agency. I can construct my own future and destiny because of what I know. And there's so much I still don't know, but I have the confidence that I can learn. I have the confidence to elevate the level of relationships that I have and get around other people who have started their own thing. And thus begins this growth cycle. It's about what you believe about you. So I hope this has been encouraging you today. I hope this gives you some ground to run on. If you need any more thinking around this, if you want to wrap your brain, join the Upper Tribe. I got it in the, this one over here, uppertribe.com. You can go there. It's a Facebook group. And I'm constantly putting information in that's going to help you elevate to an upper level living, an upper level thinking in your life. Thanks so much for joining me. I am Angus Nelson. You can find me on all the socials at Angus Nelson. And that's what I have for you today. Hope this has been helpful. Take care.